worlds, thank you very much. If the inner world is a spiritual world, and it's within all of us, this expanded consciousness is with us. So, going out of Egypt, the point was to get out of the first exile and get the Torah and become a Jewish people. What do you think is going to be when we get out of this exile? And we all come back to Eretz Yisrael forever. And what do you think the kind of miracles that have gone on in all of history to get us to this point that we survived this exile? Who said it? Mark Twain. What did he say about us?
What did he say about Eretz Yisrael or about
the Jewish people?
Just about the influence of the Jewish people.
What about us? Survival.
Yeah.
Any other nation survived like us? We're so hunted down and yet survived. Miraculous. People are going to look back. People are going to laugh. They're going to go nuts with simcha, joy about how crazy it was, what we went through, and yet we were still spiritually focused. You hear that? So that is a big thing to have inside of us and think about. Yeah. Sorry, someone was just phoning me. Anyway, the main point what I want you guys to take out of this class, let's just bring it down practically. The Purim and Hanukkah, because they come there together, these two festivals. Like you said, the right leg, the left leg, they come together. There's a machlokas in the Mukabalim, which one is which one's Hod, which was Netzach. People say Hanukkah's Hod because Hanukkah's Hodah, Halav Hodah, it's Hod, it's the left, it's going on the left side. And they say Purim is Netzach because we were victorious over Haman, finally, over Amalek. But the bottom line, whatever way you say it, is the Jewish people are going to go out of an exile, and with these two festivals leading the way. These two festivals is a Mashiach light, and it's a light which shines a certain clarity of understanding that takes away the confusion of this exile. It's so overwhelming and so clear. It's Kesem Malchus. It shows us we don't need just miracles to believe in God. The physical world is giving us belief in God. We've made the physical spiritual, that's the point. With Egypt, we didn't manage to do that. When we left Egypt and we've got the Torah, we didn't make the physical spiritual completely. We didn't achieve that. We didn't come to Eretz Yisrael and live here forever. We went back into exile. There was other exiles to continue from there. It wasn't a complete, it wasn't a Geula Shlema. There was something wasn't 100%. But now, after we've gone through these few thousand years, and Purim and Hanukkah were like the last hug before we went off into exile, from Hashem, before we went off to the second temple. He's hugging us right now. This is the ability to have clarity, even now in this generation, when you get to these two festivals, that everything is spiritual, ultimately and truthfully, and Hashem's underneath everything. He's orchestrating the whole world and everything you go through in your whole life, and He was there the whole time and will be there the whole time. And this clarity of revelation is much bigger than Zeichel Yetzias Yisrael. It's a much bigger miracle. So none of these festivals are not halakhically. We're still going to eat matzah. We're still going to celebrate Shavuos. We're still going to bring those offerings, and we're still going to have Sukkot and build a Sukkot.
That's what I was going to say.
We're still going to do the practical mitzvahs. But the point of why we're doing them, the Zeichel Yisrael, the point why we do them will be nullified to a bigger miracle. We went out of this exile, this final exile. And it's hinted in Gemara Brachos at the end of the parak, where it says, will we still remember Mitzrayim? Yeah, and it says it's a smaller redemption. So it will be like remembered as a smaller redemption, but the bigger redemption, the miracle is going to take place for us now. For this generation, we're going to go out of this exile. It's going to be overwhelm us how unbelievable and how penetrating they're going to be. That say all the maladies of the mind and soul are going to be healed, and that's going to be overwhelming for a person individually and as a nation. Each of us are going to have our spiritual healing. Each of us are going to have spiritual enlightenment ourselves. It's going to be a very overwhelming experience, not just like, as a nation, and you hear these stories and you don't know who all these people were. Each person himself is going to have that experience on a Mashiach level, where he's going to feel completely in touch with the truth and who he really is and what his soul is, and it's going to be an overwhelming feeling. We're going to have a Beis Hamikdash again. It's going to be forever. We know this one's never going to be destroyed. The Yetzer Hara is not going to ruin this one. This is like completion, a feeling of completion, a feeling of shalom. There's no more Amalek in the world. There's no more negativity. Everything's going to be totally positive. So the Hanukkah and Purim is like a taste of that, and that's a very powerful thing. That's why Purim, the festival of Purim, would be the whole year round. That's the point. It would be 24/7, 365. The whole year would be spiritual. And we'll see Kesem Malchus, the Hashem's highest level, into the lowest things. And we'll see how everything has has a spiritual element to it. Eating, drinking, sleeping, clothing, everything has spiritual. The whole industries and materialism of the world would be purified and spiritualized. It would be gewaldic. So it's just the idea, basically, what I'm trying to do is, by talking about this, is to give us an understanding that when we're learning the Parsha, for example, in Rashi this week, and we're seeing Beis Yaakov Eish, Beis Yosef Lahava, Beis Esav the Kash, and who is it? It says Toldos Yaakov Yosef, this week's Parsha. You see, Yaakov and Yosef is the key to get rid of all those kings we just read off at the end of the last week's Parsha. All this feeling of power, of negativity in the world that runs the world, all the gangsters and mafias and corrupt countries, like that song Ari Lesser put out, Boycott Israel. You know, you think about what's going on in the world, it's so crazy, so corrupt. And Yosef and Yaakov and Yosef, Yaakov is MS, and Yosef is the tzaddik, bringing it out into the world for everybody to see, taking the physical, making it spiritual. Those two together, Yaakov and Yosef, will be a flame and a fire and a flame that will ignite all the cash, all the feeling of this overwhelming materialistic world, that's all the world's about. It's suddenly going to come lit up. That's the idea, it's become spiritualized. And that's what we have to realize, that even in Rashi is hinting at it. Yeah? Rashi, we're learning the Chumash. We open up a Chumash, it's not just whatever. But we have to realize our physical life is going to become spiritual. And that's something inspiring. When we're learning the Parsha, we're tapping into something that was going on then, Yaakov and Yosef and the brothers, but it's all relevant now. Yeah? There's hints in the Parshas that what they were doing was towards the future. Everything, Ma'aseh Avos, Sim and the bottom, everything they did was towards us. They're always thinking about their descendants. That's what they care about. Yeah? They were thinking about us the whole time. Yeah, we just got to beat the camera up a little bit more so it really doesn't work. Anyway, but the idea is that there's so much to talk about. It's like a bit, for me, it's a bit, a bit overwhelming. And I apologize once again, I wasn't exactly on time. But like I said, we got Nissen tonight. It's a big thing. We have to think about that someone's coming who transformed himself. Imagine, just think about, I don't want to be rude to him, but just honestly, he grew up on the streets of Seattle. That whole culture is not into spirituality generally, and even if there is some spiritual elements over there, but it's a very tough society. The street culture with the guns and the gangsters and the drugs and so someone come out of it, and he's going to come here. He's going to tell us a story. Yeah, he's going to tell a little bit. And he was here. I spoke to him already a few times now, and he's having Shabbat, and he went to the Kotel, and he went to the great synagogue, and he's having a spiritual time here in Eretz Yisrael. To make that transformation, we all grew up with this, handed to us on some level. Me, I didn't actually. I'm about Tshuva, but a lot of people, they grew up with it handed to them. Yeah. So you just, it was sort of inevitable. Nowadays, you're going to end up having a year in Israel, and you're going to this, you're going to that, you're going to that. But don't take it for granted. One, what went into historically for us to be able to live in Eretz Yisrael and have a program and be here, we shouldn't take for granted. But secondly, just the fact that there are people who can come and teach you who went through unbelievable transformations, even in their life. We're not talking about historically. Right now, this is a new thing. This Nissim guy, it's his first time in Israel. We can really welcome him, make him feel, appreciated. He made this transformation. It's one of the big things I've always tried to explain to the religious world, like the frum world. Don't take for granted these souls that come from outside. They've made a big transformation. They've come totally for the truth. They didn't come for the kugel, and they didn't come because, logically it makes sense, because financially they're probably losing out some way, and the pleasures of this world, they have to be somewhat restrained. So you think, what are they doing it for then? They could have been, a big shot in the world. And you have all the kids of the frummers, when the guy comes and said, I went bungee jumping and I jumped out of planes, and they're all sitting there like this, all these religious kids, the rabbi's kids. I want to do that. That's all they're thinking about. I don't want to sit and learn tomorrow. I want to jump out of planes. I want to ski down mountains. I want to taste what all these things that people can do in the world. Snowboarding. I've done this. I've done snowboarding. It's a great feeling going down these mountains, beautiful views, unbelievable, like Switzerland. And I was near a place in Boston, I forgot the name, up north, and I was skiing down these beautiful hills. It's unbelievable, And these kids are I never did that. I just sat and was told I have to learn this and I have to learn that and I have to do this mitzvah and that mitzvah and it's Shabbat. But what? I want to get out of here. I want to go do what that guy's done. And he's come here and telling me what I'm doing. He wants to do. He wants to do what I'm doing, and I want to do what he's did. That's the funny world we're in. It's like fish. We said prices. It's two fish going two different ways. One's going upstream, one's going downstream. One wants to head towards the pure waters. The other one wants to go where everybody else is going, down into the big dirty sea. And the interesting thing, when Mashiach comes, even that dirty sea is going to be purified. Yeah? That's the interesting thing. Yeah? It says Mashiach, all the waters of the world are going to be sweetened and spiritualized. Yeah? The sea water, it's a Gemara, it's all going to be sweetened. Yeah. That's the idea, is sweetening of the world. Everything's going to be very pleasurable, very positive. Now we're just touching and we're tasting. What people take, they take like physical things and they go on and on and on, try to get more and more pleasure out of it. Drugs and women and more and more and more. And they're trying to drain every little pleasure they can get out of that experience. And you still feel empty afterwards. Trust me, I know. Yeah? That's why I can always say to my kids, bottom line, if they say to me, Dad, Tati, I don't really know this Torah thing. I say, trust me, I've been there, done all that stuff. Trust me, you just feel like an empty hole inside of you. It gives you no self-esteem. You don't, long term, there's nothing you can have with it. Yeah, it all disappears after a certain amount of time, and it's nothing. Whereas spirituality is eternal. Doing a mitzvah in the physical world with kindness, positivity, that's something that lasts forever. Being a good guy and having a nice relationship with someone, that's a relationship, you build a friendship forever. I've seen it myself, like friendships, if you really work on it, you can have friends that will stick behind you, and you don't realize how powerful that is, what that's about. And we see in this week's parsha, the whole exile started off with lack of that. They didn't recognize who Yosef was. They didn't recognize how special Yosef was. They weren't able to see the tzaddik. They weren't able to see underneath. This is what we're talking about. We're in exile, so we don't see it. It's not externally revealed. Like, we're thinking in external ways often, and that you can't blame yourself. It's a whole world like that, yeah. But you can do something about it. You can try deepen your understanding of what the world is. Tap into a deeper light. That's your choice. That's your responsibility, not mine. I can't tell you what to do. It's your responsibility. And each of us have times in our life where Shem opens up the doors a little bit, reveals a little bit more. Usually a year in Israel is a good time to have that revelation, to focus a little bit on the spiritual part of your life before you go back into the world. There's a certain time. So Yaakov was finally there, V'yeshev Yaakov. He was finally there. All his sons were born. Yeah, he fine, Rachel passed away, but other than that, everything was here. He had his 12 sons, everything was set up. Yeah, this was it. The Jewish people, they were ready in Eretz Yisrael, and that was it. V'yeshev Yaakov. What did Hashem say? No way. And you see in this week's parsha what goes down. This test goes on. The Jewish people end up the whole beginning of exile, and really the exile till now, all started in this week's parsha. So if you want to know what exile is about, look at these parshas. What the brothers' lack of connection, the lack of seeing the tzaddik, the lack of seeing spirituality in the world. Yeah, Yehuda, he went and married someone, and 2 of his sons died to the woman Tamar, and then he ended up being with Tamar, and come out from Tamar, came out Mashiach, came out Yehuda, came out the whole idea of Mashiach ben David. From such a dark place, from a prostitute, came out Mashiach ben David. Try and understand that. She wasn't really a prostitute, but she was dressed up. The external world tricks you. You don't know what's going on. You read this parsha, you see again and again. There's a lot of people being fooled by the external world, even and they're holy people. The 12 tribes were holy people. They were the sons of Yaakov. They were Shleim and Mitosi. They were complete. So if they're having a hard time seeing through the world, what chance do we have? So that's why comes Purim and Hanukkah. That's why it's so important. And it's a certain time of inspiration. The parshas leading up, the parshas afterwards have a continuation, but it's even more clear in these festivals. And that's why this light, this revelation, when Mashiach comes, it will seem like all the other festivals are bottled next to it. The revelation will be so great from those 2 festivals, specifically Purim. They'll be so great, the revelation, that the revelation of the other festivals will seem very small in comparison. We'll still do the mitzvahs. No one's denying the mitzvahs are still there. But the revelations of the festival and what the Jewish people are about, the bigger picture, will overwhelm all that. And that's what we're part of now. Yeah, we're part of that bigger revelation. All the generations before, all the generations before were never meritorious to be in that final revelation. We're here now. It's going to happen in our generation, I'm hoping. You're hoping? We all hope for Mashiach. Yeah? You believe that it will come?
Of course. But I was listening to somebody earlier, and they were saying it's like, not that it will be nullified from the other ones, but that you reveal another layer of what the Chagim are all about. It's like a human being in his own life. Right now, I'm 18 years old. This is me. This is what you see right now. But if I get married, if I take up a profession, if I have children, it's not a new person. It's the same me. You're revealing another layer. You're getting to a deeper level of who you are. You're revealing a more finished version. It's like somebody who you're seeing in Galus right now. You don't go to somebody in New York City and tell them to build a Beit HaMikdash. You tell them, come to Eretz Yisrael. You tell them do this and that. You're revealing another layer to them until you can see the
full picture.
Yeah,
beautiful.
It's big.
And one of the ideas that says like this is already Kabbalistic, but there's truth to it. Did you ever hear the idea of aura, the light surrounding a person? It's funny, the non-Jewish what they call it aura. But A-U-R-A. Yeah, but what do we call it? A-Aleph. Above Reish Hey. The light. To us it's light. The light surrounding a person is a glimpse of his next level of growth. It's the new version of him that's going to be in the future. So when you reach that new level, you grow into a new form of yourself. You come up a level, and that potential of you becomes manifest, and then you have a new light above you, and you grow into that one. You get a new light. So a person's constantly growing spiritually, and Hashem's constantly giving him a potential that he can live up to. This is the idea. A person has a surrounding light because that's a bigger version of himself. Literally, it's a more spiritual version of himself, and we constantly have that potential, and that bigger light shines into our inner light, a bigger light. So this is a deep idea, but the idea of a sukkah we talked about, it can't go too high because we have to be able to grasp that light. You understand? Same with the menorah, it can't go too high. Why is it the measurement 20? So I didn't explain this yet, but 20 chaf. Yeah, we said it's part of that words of Keter. And we already explained, what did we say Keter? What's the Gematria Keter? 620.
Oh yeah.
20. 620. How many mitzvahs? 613. And how many mitzvahs D'Rabbanan? 7. And what's the 7th mitzvah D'Rabbanan? Hanukkah. Hanukkah is the completion of the 620 mitzvahs that the Jews have. And that makes a crown for the Jewish people. So
what do you mean 7 mitzvot D'Rabbanan?
There's 7 mitzvahs of the rabbis.
Only 7?
Yeah.
I'm saying out of the 6.
Oh, there's 613 mitzvahs in the Torah, okay. 248 limbs, 365 sinews, 248 mitzvahs asay, 365 mitzvahs lo tasay. Person, whole body is spiritual from the mitzvahs. Yeah, but there's 7 mitzvahs. 7 mitzvahs D'Rabbanan. The 7 mitzvahs D'Bnei Noach. The 7 mitzvahs D'Rabbanan. The Rabbanan made 7, added on 7 official mitzvahs. We went through the list. Remember, we looked at Wikipedia. Are you there? No.
You showed me Wikipedia.
Yeah. It said the 7 mitzvahs D'Rabbanan. Eruvin, Netilas Yadayim, Hadlakas Neiros.
Well, I would think a lot more,
Yeah, they're all branches of mitzvahs d'oraisa. They're explaining mitzvahs d'oraisa. They all go back. But these are 7 new mitzvahs.
Not connected.
That are Rabbanans. So the bits Hanukkah is a mitzvah that It was hinted in the Torah, hints, but it's not a mitzvah from the Torah. And it was a new mitzvah that they made. The Jewish people have to every year, like Hadlakas Neiros, like the menorah. So that's those 7 mitzvahs d'Rabbanan, yeah, with the 613 makes 620. So this 620, this idea of kaf, how many letters are there in the what do you call it? In the luchas, the Shnei luchas, the luchas, Aaron Kodesh. No, they said 10 commandments. How many letters?
I don't know how many letters.
You know how many letters? 620. Kesser. Yeah. And what's the last letter of the luchas? No, it's chaf. Chaf. So between aleph and chaf. Aleph to chaf.
What do you mean on the luchot? In all the start of the brot?
It's the idea of ach. Aleph is Anochi Hashem Elokecha, and chaf is
Is what?
Re'echa. Yeah, your friend. Don't forget your friend. Re'echa. So ach tov. So it says ach. Aleph is Anochi, and chaf is the last letter. Ach is the first, and aleph is the first, and chaf is the last. The two together make ach. And what do we say ach? Where do we say ach? Ach tov v'chesed. We always say this idea of ach tov v'Yisrael, only good. Yeah, ach is a miyat. Ach is humility. And this idea of Kesser is a shame of humility. To really have this connection to the crown of the Jewish people is to have a certain revelation, like exactly what you were saying, to see the good in other people, to see the spirituality, that takes humility. A lot of people are egotistical, they need to see that they're better than someone else. But someone who's humble is only seeing good around them, he's only seeing good people. That's that's a miyat. He's made himself smaller so he can see how great that person is in front of him. And that's the luchas. Hashem, when he gave us the luchas, 620 letters, which is Kesser, crown, it brings out the crown of the Jewish people. He gave us it. When did he give us it? Yom Kippur. But what happened with those second luchas? They had to be hidden. Yeah? When are they revealed again? Every year, Hanukkah. They're revealed. We reveal them when we read them in the Torah. But Hanukkah comes out this hidden light, this kesed, this crown. That's why it's the 620th mitzvah. It's like these 620th letters are coming out, revealed in the menorah. So this is a very powerful revelation going on Hanukkah. We're tapping into this inner light, the spiritual light, and we'll just finish off, since I started a few minutes late, we'll just end off. One, I'll give you a blessing, which should be Zochah, to all these big revelations, to these expanded consciousness. We should realize that, it's a really special time to be in this world right now. We're in Eretz Yisrael. We should appreciate, we should thank Hashem, Hanukkah as an opportunity. We should enjoy the parshas, see how they're connected to what's going on spiritually in the times, and how they're shining to us a certain awareness and inner light. And please God, shalom. And also we should, how can I end off? Achtoi v'chesed. I don't know, I'll just end off. I had one more point I wanted to say. Achtoi v'chesed, kesed, Luchas. It's being revealed, this idea, this Yosef. 20, 60. Sorry, I had one more point. It's just important I say it because it connects everything together. This idea, look, we're in the parshas of Yosef, and this idea of this hidden light. Really, Yosef would be revealed, and he does. What does it say in a few parshas? Od Yosef Chai, he's still alive. Yosef is there, and the brothers suddenly realize who Ani Yosef is. Ani Yosef, really, Yosef's alive. We have to realize that's in each of us. We have a Yosef, we have a Tzaddik inside every one of us. That's the real light of Mashiach. It's in each Jew is very good. Each Jew has to believe in his intrinsic good. You have to believe in it, brother. Believe in your intrinsic goodness, and that flame will spread out to others. That's the idea. Flame can never get jealous. Why? Because you can just ignite someone else. You don't lose something by lighting someone else up when you're on fire. Yeah? The fire spreads, and I don't need it for myself. I can share it. So that's this idea of Yosef. It's also called a flame. It's also called a fire. That's a very powerful thing. So we should take this inspiration, and for Yeshiva, we should realize we're in Yeshiva. We are able to have some peace of mind a little bit and sit and learn and find ourselves, find that inner light within. And we should see it and inspire us, so that when we open up the Torah and we read something, that's a powerful thing. I usually read this, I'll save it for the next class. You should take this with you. I got these sheets. This explains, my last class I gave, I explained this sheet, how Hanukkah has more to it. And it explains each night of the